Hello, Internet. Welcome to another episode of Morgan Makes. My name is Morgan, and today we have captured Wednesday's thing and turned it into a lamp. G'day, Internet. Apologies for the weird intro, it just seemed kind of appropriate. I hope you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. I recently got into watching Wednesday on Netflix. Mild spoiler warning if you haven't seen it yet. My short review? It's pretty good. But it could have been better. And, the height looked really dumb. There was also some really big logical inconsistencies too, but I'll tell you what I mean by that in a bit. Although, my standout favourite character of the lot has to be Thing. Magician Victor Dorobontu did an absolutely fantastic job bringing the characters to life. Or unlife, if you're that way inclined. If you're a fan of the Addams Family like I am, you may note that this is the most torn up version of Thing that we have ever seen to date. Covered in stitches and scars, he looked more like a Frankenstein creation than anything else. So my original idea was to get some practice in painting human looking skin. It's not a really easy paint job to do, so practice makes perfect, and I'm not very good at it at all. I saw this STL by MRE1601 on the front page of Thingiverse, and I decided it would be a good candidate. But after downloading the file, I discovered that the master STL was corrupted, no matter how many times I tried to download it. But in the given links, I found this remix of a Thing lamp by Effila. Links in the description if you want to make your own. So, let's get to printing. My printer of choice for this model for this project is my TiVo Little Monster. Little Monsters making little monsters. Printing with white PLA at a layer height of 0.2mm. I could have gone smaller, and I really should have gone smaller, but I didn't think of it, and it came back to bite me. You'll see why in a second. I feel like I'm finally getting some good results with my little monster. I have the Z step offset cranked up to about 1.5mm at this point. It still sticks pretty good, possibly too good, but at least it's putting plastic down on the first layer now. If you haven't seen my video of me trying to figure out how to use this thing, check it out here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It would help me out a bunch and might bring some life and growth back to my channel. My little monster took just over 15 hours to print Thing. I hadn't checked when I sliced the file, but it looks like old mate Eiffel scaled him up to about 200%, so he'd be a good size for a lamp. This hand is massive. Oh well, nothing for it now. Using a paint scraper, I carefully removed Thing from the clutches of the monster. It's getting better with every print, but I feel like it still needs some adjustments, either to its mechanics or its slicer settings. I think it can still do a lot better than this. There's a lot of cleaning up that needs to be done on the underside of the print, which is a problem because that's the side that everyone's going to see. Using my clippers and a small file to clean up the worst of it, I want to try something that I saw on Reddit the other week. On a post about filling in print lines around fine detail, one of the commenters suggested that a few coats of Rust-Oleum primer might get the job done. So I got myself a can, I'm gonna try it. I don't feel like sitting here forever with a file and sandpaper. And after the first coat I could kinda see where this was going, but this is gonna take a bunch of coats with about 40 minutes to an hour in between to let it dry and cure. Now, did you ever wonder about the nature of Thing? I have, for like 30 odd years now. I used to have this very old VHS tape when I was a kid that had like the first 3 episodes of the black and white TV show from the 60s. Thing was a hand in a box. Fair enough. Special effects were a completely different beast back then, so you had to make do with what you had. Then when the movie came out in '91, Thing was now a free-roaming hand. As a kid, I didn't even see the difference. Newer movie, newer special effects, the hand gets to do more things. Seems simple enough. But apparently this was a massive problem for the original creators of the show and comic. What was in the box was supposed to be a mystery. The box was tiny, just big enough for Thing himself. It made sense to me that the box was empty. But that still leaves the question, what is Thing? Who is Thing? Well, we know he's a member of the Addams Family, and that he's a hand. Disembodied, in a box or otherwise. That's about it. I have this long-standing theory about it. Do you remember the old Joss Whedon TV show Angel? Had that guy from Bones in it. There was this one episode, I think it was in the first season, where Angel had to fight this guy who could cut off parts of himself psychically and control them remotely. Kind of odd, but whatever. What if Thing was a person with similar abilities, and the hand was the last remaining parts of him after some horrific accident? That would explain the stitches and the scars. at least in the current incarnation. Now, the theory obviously has problems, like how does he eat? Is he a perpetual motion machine? If I stuck him in a hamster wheel and told him to run forever, would I generate unlimited power? Or is there a head in a box somewhere that Lurch sticks a sandwich into it once every few days? No, anyway, we're getting sidetracked. After about a week's worth of spraying and layering up the Rust-Oleum primer, I think I'm just about to either get ready to paint it or burn it. So let's get to painting it. You can see that the Rust-Oleum has filled in a lot of the pits around the remaining stringing and the gaps in the layer lines. If I'd spent another week on it and the other half of the can, I probably could have gotten a nice and smooth coat, but I'm starting to get impatient with Thing. He has that way about him. It should be good enough though. I'm hoping the paint job will hide the majority of the crimes, and being a lamp, the underside shouldn't get too much scrutiny. I'm going to do a final primer layer in Citadel Wraithbone to bring the base tone more up to what I'm looking for. And since I did that, I may as well use my contrast paints for the first few layers to get the colour going. The first colour is going to be Contrast Skeleton Horde, applied thinly and unevenly across the whole surface. This is the base of the pigment gradient. After both sides are painted and dry, I opened up with a Yandin yellow and painted it all around the cuts and scars. Skin discolors when it's damaged, so I want to try and show that. And then I'm going to follow that up with a layer of the orange, but not in as wide of a patch, just sort of in around the details a bit. This is to give the cuts and scars a little bit more highlight and pop later. The Netflix thing looks the most haggard out of the whole lot of things. He almost looks dead, so he could probably use all the colour he can get. I also go in around the fingernails with the orange, just because I could. Human skin has a lot more green and blue in it than a lot of people realise. Things should have a bit more of it, being somewhat dead looking. Possibly, taxidermy notwithstanding. I use Arkellian green for this in very small amounts, wiped away with a cotton ball, so it just leaves a bit of a blue-green tinge. Blood Angel's Red is the next contrast paint on the list, and that's just for the stitches. I'll blend them all down to look a bit more like cord, leaving a little bit of red around the outside, look a little bit like blood. I'm trying to use up all my Citadel paints lately, and my collection is growing smaller by the week. Hopefully soon I'll have none left. This pot of rack of flesh didn't survive storage, so I got rid of that. Luckily I have another. Told you I need to use it all up. I'm sort of going off instinct here, painting what feels right. The rack of flesh gets applied to all parts of the model, and then I'll wipe it down with a cotton ball after every section just to try and wear it into the colours beneath. Rack of flesh is a base paint, so it's not really ideal for this, but I'll make it work. I need to make sure I paint the wrist cap too. Being so large, it's actually a massive surface area to be painting, so it takes some time to finish. After the first coat of rack of flesh, it's starting to look really good. I still need to do a little bit on the underside, but I'll get there. I think the tone of the skin still needs to be warmer, so a coat of Reeklin Flesh Shade Wash might do. I mean, it definitely helps, but you know what, I'm really not going to step down into that minefield of trying to nail down Thing's ethnicity. You can do that on your own time. But you know, I think I still want him to be a little bit more me-coloured. A second coat on just the knuckles didn't give the desired results. I'll have to think on that for a minute or two. I used Vallejo Cold Grey to pick out the stitches, making sure to only really paint the tops of each stitch and leaving a little bit of red that remains around the base. Now I was thinking of doing the nails in the natural finish, but Thing don't roll like that. He's a little bit more fancy. In the new Netflix show, his preferred colour is called Silver Moon, but I couldn't find that. I did, however, find this little bottle of nail polish called Black Magic, and it's more or less the right colour. It seems appropriate. Can you tell this is my first time painting nails? Well, how about the lamp? Well, it came in the mail, but they sent me the wrong one. I wanted a lamp with a lampshade attachment point. I did find an old lamp in the shed that has all the right parts. I might try and use that. But I need to finish the painting first, so I took the dog for a walk up the Tower Games in Windsor and I picked up some more paint. Vallejo Cadmium skin with a poor attempt at dry brushing. I must have been off my game that day. The cotton ball comes to the rescue to blend it in with everything that has come before. But hey, now it's starting to look like skin. Some Vallejo Rosy Flesh is applied to the knuckles with the same technique, and it gives it a little bit more warmth. Okay, now time for the lamp. I tried my best, but I didn't think I'd be able to take this lamp apart without breaking the bits that I needed. And destroying a lamp to make a lamp is a little bit redundant. So back to the one I got online. I have an idea on how to do it and get away with it without a lampshade for now. First, let's wire it in. Now, I never checked to make sure that the cable path was clear at the start when it came off the printer, and I was massively relieved when I was easily able to slip the cable up the thumb hole. please be careful if you're wiring up one of these. Edison screw fittings are polarity dependent, so active in the active hole, neutral in the neutral hole. This is for your safety, otherwise when you screw the light bulb in, the metal screw part becomes live. A dodgy fitting nearly killed my old boss a few years back. Anyway, once that's wired in, some hot glue secures the light fitting. Now, what was my plan not to use a lampshade? Fancy light bulb. Easy. It even looks like something the Addams family would have in their house. And I think that's the thing done. The paint job covers most of the print imperfections, and the ones that remain you kinda need to be pretty close at him to see. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with my new bedside lamp. So there you have it, guys. That was my 3D printed hand. That's going to be my new bedside lamp. It could have come out a little bit better. I mean, you know, the paint job's a little bit iffy in places. The 3D print's definitely a little bit iffy in places. But, you know, I think I did the best that I could, given my current skill level. But I definitely learnt a lot doing this. And, you know, next time I attempt it, it's going to be a lot better. Trust me. For additions that I'm going to do to it, I am going to 3D print a ring to go around the top here so I can actually put a lampshade on it, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to get sick of this globe really bloody fast. So, yeah, you know. But I don't think I'm going to make a whole episode on that. I think I'm just going to do that myself. Well, anyway, this has been Morgan Makes. My name's been Morgan. I hope you had a fantastic time here. Like and subscribe, it would mean the world to me. We've had a little bit of a channel death lately, so, yeah. Gotta boost those numbers up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time, guys. Cheers.